Well, welcome back, everyone. As many of you know, especially if you live in the North Country, but as some of you may live in Saratoga County don't know, downtown Glens Falls has a crown jewel of a small theater. It's called the Charles Wood Theater. And joining me today is Erin Kuhn, who's the executive director, and as I come to find out, my neighbor.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're quite welcome. So, Erin, you're the executive director.
I am.
Big job.
Yeah, big job. Worth it.
Yes.
Good job.
Yeah, sure. You can tell. I could tell from talking before we went on air. You have that passion, and that's a big requirement in arts management.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I
definitely.
mean? All right, so you've been there since 2010?
I have. I started as the operations manager in 2010.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was fresh out of school and walked in off the street, and the stars aligned, and I got the job. And then a few years ago, the executive director that hired me, Bill Woodward.
Oh, I know Bill, sure.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He retired, and after a bit of a search, the board decided to hire me. So I've been the executive
You never have to look that far, right?
Isn't that nice?
Yes. Well, wonderful opportunity for both you and for the theater to have you there. I asked Erin to come on because the summertime is particularly active at the theater.
It is.
And also, it happens to be the 10th anniversary.
It's our birthday.
It's your birthday. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
If my math is correct, 2004? Correct? I remember that when it was being built.
Yeah, June of 2004. We opened officially. Elaine Stritch came up from the city and did the very first performance at the theater.
You know, we did a documentary on Glens Falls, which premiered at the Charles Wood Theater.
Did you really?
Years ago.
I
Yeah,
didn't
we
know
did.
that.
All right, so let's talk about this summer.
Okay.
Company in Residence, the Adirondack Theater Festival. Great company.
They are. It's their 20th anniversary. And if it wasn't for the Adirondack Theater Festival, the Charles Wood Theater would have never been born, actually, because the Theater Festival asked if they could use the Woolworths building that the theater was built in before it was even a theater, just to be their home for one summer. And it worked so well that the board of directors, who was running this empty building at that point, decided, hey, let's make it a theater. So.
Got you. All right, so they're doing this, I couldn't believe. I asked if they were doing one presentation this summer, which would be enough for a small theater company. How many are they doing?
6.
6.
Yep. It's their 20th anniversary. They're going big, and they're doing things that are reminiscent and representative of different eras in the theater festival's history, too. That's their way of celebrating.
Let's briefly run through the list of
Sure.
the presentations, performances this summer.
They open next Monday with a one-man show called Fully Committed, and it stars one of the fella I believe who plays one of the janitors on Scrubs.
Okay,
so he
great.
plays 23 different parts. It's hysterical. If anyone can make it out for that next Monday, and it runs all week through Saturday. Following that, there's a 3-day run, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of July of Spontaneous Broadway, and the Theater Festival is bringing MOPCO down to Glens Falls, and Spontaneous Broadway is exactly what it sounds like. It's a Broadway musical that's inspired by audience suggestions. So things can get crazy, things will be funny, and it'll be really interesting, I think, for the Glens Falls audiences. We're not used to that. So.
Great, and I want to spend just a few minutes on the last one. So between the second one and the last one, give us the names of the other
Okay,
performances.
there's a reading of a new play that's being written now, Lady Liberty and the Donut Girl.
Got it.
And that runs for 2 days on July 14 and 15. And then we've got The Whale, which is a show about a very, very obese man who's at the end of his life now because of his condition and is trying to reconnect with his daughter. And it sounds like it's really heavy and dramatic, but it's actually very funny. And then they're doing a cabaret night with Noah Zachary, who has been an Adirondack Theater Festival star for the last few years. And this is a show that he's created himself based on his observations as he's been living in New York City. And then the final show of the season is a big one. It's Ring of Fire. It's a Johnny Cash musical.
This Ring of Fire has been presented by other theater companies around the country, and every review I ever read about that was just dead on.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about one of the icons of American culture and music in Johnny Cash. So I can't wait.
Everybody on that
see
stage
that
is going to be playing instruments, singing Johnny Cash's music. It's going to be it's going to be a showstopper.
Can you say sell out? I think you can say sell out.
I think people better buy their tickets now. Yeah.
I think they ought to also. Okay, the second thing that we want to talk about, part of this 10th anniversary, is we've got a birthday celebration, and most importantly, we've got a fundraising effort that gets launched, right?
We do, yes. The Wood Theater is 10 years old now. When the theater was built, we had wonderful support from the community, but there was some things that were left undone. And it's now that we've been here for 10 years, it's time to finish up those things and upgrade the theater so that it's at a level that the people who use the theater really need it to be at.
Well, you know what? When you talk about theaters, technology changes so rapidly. And think about it, a theater has lighting issues, sound issues, video issues, and of course there's upgrades to the building. But one of the major ways that any theater makes money is to be able to rent it, quote unquote, to promoters who bring in presentations. Well, they can't bring presentations to a theater that doesn't accommodate their needs in terms of technology, in terms of accessibility and upgrades to the building. So this has a lot of ramifications for the future of the theater in downtown.
It really does. When the theater was originally built, most of the equipment that we purchased was secondhand at that time. So now it's 10 years down the line. The advancements in sound and lighting technology have just, like all technology, the curve for that has just been outrageous. And we haven't been able to keep up the way we'd like to.
Sure, but most theaters find themselves in that predicament. But here's the Charles Wood as a neighborhood theater, hence the name for the fundraiser.
Neighbor Wood, would you be our neighbor? Donate to us, help us keep the theater up to the level that it really needs to be at. And the Wood Theater isn't just about the big promoters that come in. We have a lot of nonprofit organizations, local nonprofits, who use our theater for community theater productions or dance recitals or children's theater productions. And it's a really educational experience for these local community people to be able to come in, work with the Wood Theater staff, and learn how to use a professional theater, learn how all of that works.
Gotcha. Now, we have a lot of detail on our website. We're going to push people to your website.
Yes.
But Neighborwood is going to be a 2-year effort to raise how much?
We want to raise $400,000.
Oh, we got some heavy lifting.
We're off to a great start. The Charles R. Wood Foundation already pledged $100,000. They gave us a check for that. It launched our whole campaign. And if we raise another $100,000 in our first year, they're going to give us another $100,000. So that'll leave us with 1 year to raise 25% of our goal. So hopefully we'll make that happen.
Good. And part of those efforts will be events at the theater. Part of it will be knocking on doors, right?
Knocking on doors, sending out mailings, asking everybody who comes in to just throw a couple of dollars into a jar on their way out to support the campaign. And we have a big birthday party to launch the campaign officially on August 14th.
Oh, you have a lot of stuff coming up. Yeah. So look, Erin, it's wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you.
And we'll have you back again as closer to the event on August 14 and get an update and also let you know how you can help. In the meantime, head up to Glens Falls. This theater is beautiful. And I can tell you that the Adirondack Theater Festival is one heck of a company. Mark Fletcher does a great job with that company.
He does.
So we'll see you then.
All right.
Sound good?
Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.